Okay, what's up, guys? Keyshawn here, back at you with another new Ultimate Universe What If. And this is going to be two fans' ideas, alright? And I'm going to combine them into one, alright? So, if y'all know who y'all are, shout out to y'all. But, I'm going to do the video. But also, I kind of want to give an announcement to what's going to happen. So, basically, someone wanted me to do What If Deku was Spider-Punk, which I thought it was a good idea. I just didn't do it at the time because I was too busy doing my other videos. And also, someone wanted me to do What If Deku and Miles Morales / the Black Spider-Man, but I'm going to, and they wanted me to make Miles Morales as female and in Class 1A, so I'm going to make it work. But I'm going to merge them in together, alright? So it's not better separated into two What Ifs being separated, it's better together. So I'm going to make them together and merge them together to see what will happen. And I hope y'all guys enjoy this video and like it. Oh, and if y'all want to see another part to this, leave a like, get this up to 20 likes, maybe 30, and I can pull some strings, whack. But any of that, let's get to the video and see how this will happen. So we start off with Keyshawn Uchida, pretty much sitting at his throne, pretty much bored, out his mind, wanting to see what's new, and he doesn't see nothing new. Until he, you could say, read comic books about Spider-Mans and stuff, and the Spider-Verse and all that. I realized that he doesn't really have a lot of Marvel things in his alternate universes and stuff. And he really haven't been experimenting. So he said, what the hell? Let's make something new. Now, this is where Keyshawn Uchida begins to experiment and create spiders. We're going to say start to create spiders. And he only creates 2 spiders. Well, you could say he starts to create multiple spiders. But he starts to send them out in alternate universes and stuff. And he begins to let them go. Now, this is where he sends the spiders out for Pacific. And he tells these spiders where the Pacific order and who specifically to bite. And he shows the pictures of these spiders. And he tells them that they might have to wait for a couple of years for them to grow. But these are their targets. Which the spiders begins to all go. Now, Keyshawn Uchida begins to look at trying to find a Pacific Deku, and he sees him. And this is where he gives Deku, a personality of as a punk, to like to play guitar, to start concerts, and to play music, play rock and roll music and stuff, and rock music. And he begins to take away his quirk. Now, he takes away his quirk because he says he ain't gonna need this quirk, and plus, I don't want that quirk doctor to take it, so I'll just take it. It begins to disappear. Resume in time. Now, this Deku was born. No, but this Deku is definitely different. Because this Deku has green hair. But short hair. He pretty much has mohawk hair. But I just explain. As Deku's growing, he's pretty much as you could say, doing destructive things, doing bad things and stuff. But Inko still love it the same. And this is where Deku cuts his hair and says, I don't like my hair like this. I like it as a mohawk. Which Inko says, okay, let me take you to a barber so you won't cut off your eyebrows and stuff. Now, Deku gets his hair cut and get a mohawk. And begins to, and no, it's not going to be spiky mohawk. It's just going to be a mohawk. A cool mohawk, by the way. Now, as Deku begins to grab a guitar, he begins to play and says, Mom, I like a guitar. Which she says, okay. And he begins to play some music and stuff and rock and write lyrics and stuff. Now, this is where they go to the quirk doctor and the doctor says he has no quirk. But this is where Deku, gets mad and smacks the table and says, I don't need a quirk. I could just be a famous musician, you could say. And he begins to, and he looks like an average thing, punk. You could say a punk, where with the spikes and all that, and also with the gloves and stuff. But this is where he does guitars and stuff, and you could say drink a little alcohol, play music and stuff, and play rock and roll, all that. This is where his school is offering kids to go to a museum. Offering kids to go to a museum. Now, Deku in class is listening and saying, my mom is probably going to force me, so I have no choice. And they're asking who would like to go to the field trip, which they go to, Miles Morales, female Miles Morales, and they ask her would she like to go to the science museum, which she says she would love to go. And yes, she has her officer dad and her doctor mother, so yeah, pretty much. And they want her to go to UA High because they live in Japan and they want her to go to UA High. They work their ass off to pretty much put her up in the top school, the hero school, because they think she has a quirk, but she really doesn't. But her intelligence can be used in other hands. Now, this is where the teacher asks Deku would he like to go, and Bakugo and Deku, they're really buddy because due to the Bakugo asshole personality and Deku's punk personality and his rock and roll, they're pretty much buddy with each other, double teamwork. But he has no quirk, but Bakugo doesn't care. They're still buddy. He led exception for Deku. Now, this is where the teacher asks for Deku name again. Deku, are you going or not? Which Deku says, do I have a choice, teacher? Because clearly, you're just going to call my mom. My mom is just going to say, oh yeah, he can go. And he's not going to be doing nothing else. Which everybody begins to start laughing, including Miles Morales. She laughs, which Deku looks at her and begins to do a little blushing, looks away. Now, this is where the teacher pretty much says, alright, I guess we're going then. And this is where every student is getting their stuff ready and they hop on the bus, begins to start going to the science museum. Well, the science museum and stuff. Now, this is where, they're all looking and stuff, and they're looking at all the science and stuff. And this is where the scientist is explaining about the technology and what they're trying to do, and also experimenting with animals' DNA and stuff. And this is where Deku makes a joke and says, oh, so you're kind of making like hybrid humans with abilities with animals, which everybody begins to do a little bit. So that sounds cool, and someone begins to laugh, which the scientist says, yeah, we're trying to do that. Which Deku says, huh, damn. Now, no, this is not the part when they get bit, like the Peter Parker scene. No, it's not going to happen like that. It's happening in different ways, alright? Trust me. It's a part of the plan. But this is where they all look at the spider and stuff, and they all is pretty much explaining that how, genetics and DNAs can interfere and stuff. And Deku was listening. He's smart, but he has a high IQ, but he just likes to be a punk, you could say. But secretly he's a nerd. But this is where they all have fun at the science museum, and they all begin to head back. Now, this is where Deku begins to start walking with his guitar, and this is where Miles Morales asking Deku, is he gonna go to the UA exam? Which Deku looks at her and says, yeah, he's gonna be going. Which she says, that's great. I can't wait to see you there. And begins to get going. Start skipping. Get going. Now, Deku begins to head to, we're gonna say a broken down building. Well, broken down punk building. Actually, no. He's gonna head to the punk place where all the punk kids hang out, and they're all playing guitar, and this is where Deku walks in, and they say Deku, and he's saying, hey guys, now this is where they're all having a party, playing beats and stuff, and playing loud beats and lyrics and stuff, and having fun, all that. Now this is where Deku is, you could say, is about to play until a spider bites him on the neck. Yeah, bites him on the back of the neck. Now, Deku begins to, smack the spider on the neck and begins to look and see the spider dead. And he sees the spider has like a cool, unique, like spikes around it. and stuff and death. Now, Deku think he's poisoned, he's about to die soon. So he said, you know what? And he pretty much goes up in the mic and says, you know what? I just got bit by a spider, and I'm probably gonna die. So let's play till I die. Which everybody's get excited and stuff, and they begins to get louder and play beats and all that stuff. Now we're gonna switch to Miles Morales' point of view, and she's right now with her uncle. Right now with her uncle, you know, spray painting and stuff, you know, doing graffiti and stuff. You know, she's having time with her life and stuff. And this is where her uncle asks her, like, is she sure she wants to do this? Like, what if she doesn't get in? Which Miles Morales saying she's gonna get in. She has to, you know, for her parents' sake. Which his uncle gets to say, huh? And this is where Miles Morales asks the whole thing of why you and my dad never, you know, talk to each other that much. Which he's saying, oh, it's not really we're just on separate terms right now, but we're gonna get, you know, back to talking to each other. Which Miles Morales says okay. Now this is where the uncle says I'm gonna be going home. Make sure you get home safe. Which Miles Morales says okay. Now this is where she's doing the rest of the spray paint and stuff, and she gets bit on her neck. Now this is where this is where she's spray painting and she sees a spider on her, and the spider bites her. Now this is where she looks at it and just smacks it and says, "Ew," and begins to finish spray. Now, as she's walking home, you could say walking home. This is where Deku, is pretty much walking home too, and we're gonna say he's a little bit drunk, you could say, and walking, saying, "Huh, I thought that spider would kill me with that poison, but I guess I was wrong." And he begins to walk. Now this is where he's holding his guitar thing, and he sees Miles Morales, and he says, "Oh hey, you," and she begins to say, "Deku." Now, this is where we're gonna say the sludge villain comes in and begins to try to attack. Deku and Miles Morales, and they both fail the spine systems and they jump at the same time, which they're both confused of how. Now the sludge villain comes in and says, "How did y'all kids dodge my attack?" And this is where Deku grabs Miles Morales' hands and tells her to run. And they both begin to start running. And the sludge villain is fast. He's chasing after them like a dog, you could say. And they're trying to, you know, get away from the sludge villain. Now, this is where they both accidentally let loose of a web. And it begins to swing together, which they're saying, "What? How the?" And they're both confused. Now, the sludge villain is saying, "What? How the hell?" And this is where Deku thinks and says, "Quick, how about we focus together and try to web the sludge villain down?" Which this is where they start webbing together, like trying to concentrate and web together, and pretty much web down the sludge villain. Now they're both confused of how the hell did they shoot out webs from their arms. And this is where All Might comes in and says, "I am here," which, you know, Miles Morales and Deku knows All Might, and they're saying, "Oh," like they're saying, "Oh my God, it's All Might." Now, this is where you could say All Might looks and sees such a web down, which All Might's saying, "Did y'all do this?" Which Deku and Miles Morales says, "Yeah, we did, I guess." Which All Might's saying, "What kind of quirk y'all have?" Which they say they don't have no quirk, they just did it automatically. Which All Might's saying, "Huh, okay, well, thanks for capturing him for me," and begins to take the surgeon and head off. Now, this is where they start walking together and they're saying, "You saw what we just did?" Which Miles Morales is saying, "Yeah, but what was that? How did we do that?" Which Deku says, "Who cares? We got freaking powers." Which Miles Morales says, "I guess you say so." This is where Deku says, "Well, I'm going to be heading home. Talk to you later, and maybe we can figure out this together." Which, in our training for 10 months for the UA, which she says, "Yeah." Now, this is where they both went on their separate ways and they start heading to their houses. Now, this is where Deku begins to, you know, and we're gonna say Deku wears some wears some wear glasses, but he regularly doesn't puts them on, and he begins to try to, put back on glasses, and he realizes he doesn't need them no more. He can see better, and he realizes he can climb on walls and stuff, and he's saying, "Holy crap, I'm kind of like some spider." Now this is where, you know, Deku's thinking, "I never made a hero costume, so what the hell? I might as well make a hero costume and try to save the day." Now this is where Deku is creating an outfit, trying to make some good outfit and stuff, and create it and stuff, make it work. And he finds his outfit, and this is the outfit right here you see before you fit. And Miles Morales, she's doing the same thing and making an outfit, you could say. She's making the same outfit, but she spray paints her outfit and stuff. Now, this is where for the 10 months they both meet at a location, and Deku is wearing his outfit, and Miles Morales wearing her outfit, and they begins to and yes, she has the jacket. She has the jacket with the hoodie and the spider outfit. So yeah, this is where, and also the shoes, the high Jordan shoes, the fresh shoes, you could say. And they begins to train together. Now they're testing out what they can do, what strength they have, and all that. And this is where they start to do some crime stopping together. Only a couple crime stop doing something. Now, this is where we're gonna say a photographer took a picture of both of them, and this is where we're gonna say a debut, but not the same. Saying, who is these heroes saving the day? These unlicensed pro heroes saving the day and saving people. And they said, and one of the photographers says, maybe this one is Spider Punk, and this one is Black Spider Woman, which he's saying that might be a good idea. Put it on a debut, and pretty much, they make it on the news, which they're saying this is not good. Which Deku says, "Hey, I always wanted to be on the cameras." Which this is where she says, "What about the UAs?" And which they said, "Well, we can become pro heroes by doing that." Which she says, "You're right." Now, this is where the 10 months is already over, and they got their training and stuff, and they know what they can do and what abilities they can do and stuff. Now, this is where, and no, they don't need no technology machine to do webbing. They just have the automatic webs, you could say. Now, they both, you could say, wake up and begins to get ready and start heading to the UA. Now, as they're heading to the UA, they pretty much have their suit. Well, they pretty much have their suit under their school uniform, you could say, and head in there. Now, as they head in there, Deku has his mohawk and pretty much is walking with Miles Morales, and they're talking to each other, saying, "So, what do you think the test is going to be?" Which Deku says, "I don't care, but I think we're going to pass it with ease." Which she says, "Yeah." Now, Baku comes in the middle and says, "What's up, guys?" And Baku is saying, which Deku is saying, "Oh, hey, bro," which Baku says, "Sup." Now, this is where Baku is saying, "So why you walking with Miles Morales? You have a crush on her?" Which Deku begins to blush and says, "Shut up," and Miles Morales begins to blush too, saying, "No, it's not like that," and she's, you could say, stunned on her, which Baku says, "Wow, y'all totally in for each other." Well, don't make me interrupt, and begins to head forward, which they look away from each other. Now, as they're walking, you could say as they're walking and stuff, they head in and stuff, and everything goes as the same with the test stuff. Now, we're going to go to the robots thing. Now, as they're at the robots, this is where the man says a remark. He said, "Go," and they begins to circle. Now, this is where Miles Morales and Deku get their suit, and they begins to start swimming. Now, the heroes see the suits and say, "Wait, ain't those pro heroes that are are those cells? Which, they don't know the identity. Because, a Spider-Man never reveals their identity unless they're asking to get clapped, so no one doesn't know. But basically, unless they trust with someone very unique, because they was stopping a lot of villains, and with great power comes great responsibility from Uncle Ben. You've always heard, but pretty much, yeah, Deku. Oh yeah, Deku has Uncle Ben, so yeah, just wanted to tell you that. But yeah, pretty much they start swinging, doing destroying robots and webbing them and stuff, and swinging them left and right. Now, this is where, Miles Morales and Deku think they're done until they see a Zerport rover and they see a girl screaming, and it's with Rocket, and she's asking for help. This is where the Zerport rover is about to crush her till Deku and Miles Morales come in at the same time, holding the robot off with their compared drain, with their two strong strength, and lift the robot up. This is where Deku webs the robot in two different angles so it doesn't fall on the other guy who's right behind the 0 Point robot and pretty much hold him still. So the real 0 Point robot is pretty much stuck and hold off. Now, this is where they ask who Rocket is. She's alright, and she's pretty much saying, yeah, but who are y'all? Which Miles Morales and Deku says, we're just your daily neighborhood Spider-Man, Spider-Woman. Well, Spider-Punk and Spider-Woman, and begins to swing away. Now, this is where, it begins to start going. And we're gonna say only All Might knows their identity because he remembered spiderwebs, so he's thinking those two students, so everybody's about to, reveal their identity till All Might says, only the principal and the teacher Razorhead's about to reveal the identity to them and call them out until All Might says, wait, no. We should probably not, because they might not be pro heroes, but they've been saving a lot of people around the streets, and also they've been stopping a lot of villains. So if a villain escape and know their identity, they could be injecting in their parents too. So let's not. Let's just keep that identity safe, which all the teachers agreed upon and stuff. Now, this is where Deku and Miles Morales walking together saying they did great and stuff and smiling at each other until All Might comes in and says, y'all guys did great, which Deku says, I don't know what you're talking about, sir. Which, this is where All Might says, don't worry, I know about your secret. He begins to, lift out his hand and says, we haven't introduced each other, and begins to talk. Now, Deku is, shaking his head, shaking his hand, and pretty much sweating and stuff. And also, Miles Morales is happy now. All Might's pretty much saying that he wants both of them to be his successor, and he knows about their identity. He makes sure that none of the teachers will tell their secret of them being the non-legal heroes saving the day, which Miles Morales and Deku was happy that All Might did that for them. So they gladly accept the offer for the one for all Quirk, and you could say they both split it. So they both they will be I think the 8th and 9th successor, if I'm correct. So yeah. But who is the next? Who is stronger? I would say Deku is the next successor, so he would be stronger, and Miles Morales would be the 8th successor. So yeah. But pretty much, All Might is telling them about his secret and stuff, and they agreed to not tell anyone. And also become the next pro heroes, well, the next #1 heroes. Now, as they're heading home, they pretty much just decided because they got an automatic stepped into the school, and Miles Morales tells his her dad and her mom that she passed, and they're happy for her, and Inko and Uncle Ben is they're coming in and asking how did it go, and Deku said he passed, and Uncle Ben is excited, and Aunt May, his grandma and Aunt May, they live together with Deku, so yeah. They're happy that he's passed. Now, Uncle Ben already, is talking to talking to Deku outside, and stars and stuff. And this is where Uncle Ben gives him the great speech: "With great power comes great responsibility." And Deku, takes it by heart. He takes it by heart because he loves his Uncle Ben and he respects his Uncle Ben. Like his Uncle Ben followed his, like he listened to his grandson and let him follow his dreams of becoming a guitar hero. I mean, you could say not a guitar hero, but a rock star. You could say who wants to create music and stuff. Now, this is where the next day comes and they're all heading to the school. Now, Miles Morales she's pretty much walking with Deku, pretty much saying that her parents was like really proud of her and stuff and happy that she's in class 1A. And this is where Deku asks her, "Did you tell them about you having being Spider Woman or Black Spider Woman?" Which Miles Morales says, "Nah, my dad is a cop and he doesn't like heroes like that." Which Deku says, that sucks. Well, I didn't want to tell my parents because I don't want them to constantly worry about me saving the day and getting hurt." Which they both this smiles and begins to laugh. Now this is where they head into the building and they pretty much see Bakugo. Now, class 1A, since you're in class 1A, you don't have to wear any uniform, so everybody's just, wearing clothes, whatever they want. So yeah, we're gonna just give that ability. So no one doesn't have to wear fancy ass school uniform. They can just wear whatever they want. So this is where Deku is wearing his punk outfit, and he sees Bakugo and says, "Hey, Bakugo," or he says, "Hey, Kashan," which Bakugo says, "Hey, Deku, what up?" And this is where says, "Oh, you know this delinquent? You know this delinquent? I guess y'all two was together then, since y'all do look like punks." Which this is where Deku, moves the desk over and says, "What you say to me?" Which is about to repeat itself until everybody else starts coming in and stuff and introducing themselves. And Uraraka is thinking both, is happy, but she's trying to figure out who's the people who saved her from that certain death. But Deku and Miles Morales just keep quiet. Now, this is where they all begins to start talking to each other and stuff. Until Razorhead gets up and he begins to say, "Why y'all so loud?" And everybody's you could say everybody's freaking out, except for Deku and Miles Morales. Miles Morales is looking at the teacher saying, "Is this a homeless guy who snuck into school?" Which Morales is thinking, and Deku saying, "Hey, what? Hey, he's sleeping here? That's pretty nice." Now, this is where the teacher looks at all the students and he sees Miles Morales and Deku and says, "So those two must be the heroes, the two spider heroes." Which he says, it's time to see if they're really worthy being here. Now, this is where he tells everybody to get their gym uniforms on and get ready because they're going to test their quirks. Which Deku and Miles Morales says, "All right," and they're just going to pretend like it's a quirk. So it begins to get dressed and stuff and all that stuff, and they all head out. Now, before they head out, as everybody's getting dressed, we're gonna switch to Bakugo's point of view. I mean, to Deku's point of view, and as he's taking off his stuff and putting on his gym uniform, he's ripped, you could say. And they're asking how is he so ripped like that? He looks strong. Like, have you been doing 20 weights and stuff? Which Deku laughs and says, "Ah, nah, nothing like that. I just, you could say." Which Bakugo says, "Yeah, right. He never lifts up the weights a day of his life." Because Bakugo knows Deku as like best friends. Like, he knows him. He knows his friend, and he knows that he only party and do guitars and stuff, and he never does the exercise for once in his life. Now we switch to Miles Morales, and as she's getting dressed and stuff, the girls look in. They say, "Wow, you're in perfect shape. Do you do weights and like do you do lift up and stuff?" Which she's pretty much looking at them and pretty much like laughing, saying, "Yeah, I guess you can say that." And they pretty much says, "Oh, okay." Now as they're heading out, this is where uh Deku, Deku and all of them and stuff is ready. Now everything goes as the same, but instead of for Miles Morales and Deku using their, you could say using their webs, they don't really need to use their webs because, like I said, their jumps, they can just, they have like incredible strength and jump, and you could say a couple speed, a good amount of fast speed, so they still pass without using their webs. Including with the ball throw, like when they threw the ball, they pretty much like Deku reached in second, Miles Morales reached in third, and Uraraka reached in first because of her gravity ball throw. But yeah, sorry. Now we're gonna do the hero versus villain arc. Now, as they're all sitting in class, talking to each other and all that, this is where Deku begins to look at Miles Morales, and she's talking to the other girls. Now, this is where Bakugo says, "Go for it, go ask her on a date," which Deku is saying, "Nah, I don't think she will, accept once to go out with me." Which this is where Bakugo says, "Deku, y'all been looking at each other every time. Ever since y'all was in kindergarten and y'all met each other. Y'all couldn't take your eyes off each other. I'm surprised that y'all haven't asked each other out on a date yet," which Deku begins to look down, blushing. Now, this is where Walker laughs and, hits him on the back, saying, "Bro, go ask her." Now, as they're going, this is where you could say Deku goes up to Miles Morales and asks her on a date, which Miles Morales, she's blushing, but she looks down and says, "Yeah." Whisper, which Deku says, "What?" And she says, "Yeah." Which Deku says, "All right," and he begins to walk. And you could say he's excited that she accepted to go out on a date. More or less, they go back to the seat. Now, this is where the girls are saying, "I can't believe he asked you out. So, where do you think I'm gonna go to?" Which Miles Morales says, "I don't want to talk about that now." Now, this is where All Might comes in and says, "I am here," and everybody's excited, saying, "Oh my God, it's All Might," and all that. Saying, "Oh my God, it's All Might," and all that and stuff. Now, this is where All Might looks at him and says, "We're going to do a test of, you could say, hero versus villains." Now, he's displaying things and what they have to do and capture a bomb. Like, the villains have to defend the bomb and also, stop the heroes from doing it and let the time go out or capture the heroes. And, the heroes got to do the same thing, but, get the bomb. Now, everything goes as the same. Everything goes as, all the same. Now, but the teams are going to be different now. The teams are going to be with Miles Morales, Deku versus Bakugo and Uraraka. Yeah. Now, this is where they're all getting dressed in their hero uniforms and all that. And this is where you could say Deku puts on his Spider Punk outfit and he begins to get ready. Now, Miles Morales, she already dressed up in her outfit with the jacket and hoodie, and also with the J's. And they begins to say, "Are you ready?" And they look at each other and they say, "Yeah." And they put on their mask. Now, this is where the students, we're gonna say only a couple of students, we're gonna say only two students read the paper, and it's Todoroki and Bakugo, because we're gonna say they kind of old fashioned, and they look, and this is where, All Might's looking and saying, "I knew they was the heroes who've been saving me, people." Now, they haven't really, it's not really important, so, the news really have been going on to them, so that's why the students They just think it's a cool outfit, but they don't know that's really two spider people. Now, this is where they're heading into the building, and this is where Miles Morales says she's going to climb up top and see where's the bomb at by location. We're gonna say Miles Morales. She has location search, so let's just skip that. Now, Deku. Now Deku is pretty much heading in the building. Pretty much take his time, and he feels his spider senses tingling. And this is where a explosion lets off, and Deku jumps up top of the wall and pretty much holds up the wall. And he's pretty much upside down saying, "Huh, Bakugo, I didn't know you was about to hit me with that explosion. I should have known you was going crazy with explosions." Which Bakugo saying, "Huh, look like you got yourself a quirk. I thought you didn't have a quirk," which Deku says, "I don't," and begins to fall back down saying, "But you want to see what I can do?" Which Bakugo says, "I would love it more than better." Now, this is where Miles Morales, she finds the bomb and begins to start crawling. Now, this is where she lands down about to touch the bomb until Uraraka touches her. Well, you could say this is where Uraraka touches it and Miles Morales starts floating. Now, she's confused with what the hell's going on, trying to figure out what's going on. Now, this is where Uraraka's saying, "I touched you, and now you're stuck by gravity, and if I retouch my hands, I can drop you down, but I'm not going to do it," which this is while Miles Morales thinks, and she starts to think and says, "Huh, okay." And she webs both of Uraraka's hands and make them touch again, and Miles Morales starts falling down. Now, this is where she catches her self, and this is where Uraraka is about to touch her again until Miles Morales jumps right behind her and pretty much touches her and does a tase, a paralyzing tase, and pretty much shocks her, which she hits the ground, passed out, which Miles Morales realized that, huh, so I have that. Now, this is where she's about to almost touch the bomb until Deku. We switch back to Deku, and Deku is pretty much dodging his attacks and stuff and saying, "Huh, you thought I wasn't good at fighting?" Which Wako says, "Well, you did lose a couple fights to me one time. I guess you're about to set in school," which she says, "Yeah, I'm about to." And he does a backflip and pretty much kicks Bakugo down to the ground. And this is where Miles Morales touch bomb and heroes win. Now, everybody's excited and stuff and all that. And this is where they run up to Deku and Miles Morales saying that they did great. Their quirks are amazing, which they're saying, yeah, of course. And this is where Todoroki comes in and saying, it walks up to Deku saying, "I know your secret, Spider-Punk," which Deku, shocked that Todoroki knows. Now, as they're all heading home, this is where Miles Morales and Deku walks together and begins to, talk about the date, but this is where Deku says, "Someone knows our secret, so someone knows my secret and knows your secret," which Miles Morales is shocked, but they said, "We worry about it later, but first let's just think about our date," which Deku says, "Yeah." Now, this is part 1 of what if Deku was Spider-Punk, and also what if Miles Morales was in Class 1A. If you like, leave a like, comment, all that stuff. Like, share, all that. But I'm Keisha Chia. Thanks for watching, and peace out.
It looks like you lost another one.